Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another wonderful, beautiful episode of Beyond the Bottom Line, the video show that sits down with nonprofit leaders, executive directors, people in the charity space, people in the giving space who want to sit down and share their stories with us because they're interesting, and I have to poke and prod them to come on the show to tell them that you're interesting, you have wonderful stories, and we want to hear about them. So today is an episode like no other. I'm sitting down with a new good friend of mine. His name is Nimrod Avram May. He is the creator of an amazing, amazing TV show, children's TV show called God's Gang, focused all about coexistence within religion and within people and sharing and spreading the love of everything everywhere all at once. And so we actually did a recording once before, and then now we're redoing it because of some technical issues. So I get to have the pleasure of sitting down with Nimrod Avram again and to have this conversation. And so before we dive into the show, this show is on Brave Hearts TV. You can watch that wherever streaming platforms are, as well as on our YouTube channel, the Beyond the Bottom Line show. So let's dive into the show because nobody cares about me. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Hi, Sean, and thank you for having me on your amazing podcast and for the kind words. And I love everything, everywhere, and all at the same time, because this is how actually I believe the world works. So, should I tell a little bit about God's Gang?
Yeah. Tell us how this whole concept came about and everything about the show and how you do it.
So, to start with, what God's Gang is all about. In short, it's an action, adventure, and comedy with a very special heart that is pulsing underneath the cover, which is spiritualism based on shared human values, where we have love on the top, and underneath it, we follow the values of compassion and kindness and empathy and gratitude and unity, which are the building blocks for what we believe is a thriving humanity. And that is basically the essence of an amazing 18 years of a spiritual journey that I've been doing on my own, just to realize I had many questions about our world, about the universe, about myself, about creation. And in 18 years, I managed to gather the understanding that if I met myself before I realized there's a creator, and I need to explain myself what is God, what is source, what is creation all about. It would all come down to two words, which is one love. And everything is one, everything is interconnected. Also, from a scientific standpoint, we know that we live in what is called the quantum field, and there is a quantum entanglement. Everything basically, although we experience life through separation, through matter, through ego, through a forgetting separated consciousness, which is called the me, it still doesn't mean that we're not connected. And you probably know the allegory about the wing of the butterfly that affects the tsunami on the other side of the world. So if everything is interconnected, then there is only one energy that I believe we should be applying on a day-to-day basis, and that's the most noble energy, which is love. And when we now open the mainstream media, when we watch the news, it seems that, this oneness and this unity and the need for love is a bit neglected and forgotten. And because the narratives that we're engaged with as humanity are more on the polarizing, divisive side, and wars and threats that are basically activating our surviving instincts, the fight or flights. And when humans are constantly battling fear and anger and frustration and deprivement, we are losing our capabilities to be co-creators, because we're always in a state where we're not managing our lives. We're basically thrown into the back seat, and these low frequencies are driving us not to the place of having a thriving humanity. So, with that being said, we've created an animated series for children, which is based exactly on what we described as the shared human values that brings interfaith superheroes together to save the world. In our show, we have Crisscross, who's the Christian member, Su Muslim, the Muslim, Taekwondo Hindu, and Ninju, the Jewish hero who saves the world together. We spawn them on amazing adventures, and based on their superpowers and their heart, they're able to overcome different challenges. And so far, we produced 8 episodes, averaging 5 minutes per episode. So we have 40 minutes of a total runtime of the animated series. We broadcast it through social media. Our main channel is on YouTube. But you can find this show also on small and big streamers like Toon Googles and Power Kids, which is a 50 million subscriber YouTube channel, and Red Coral Universe and Mercury Kids Entertainment, and soon on other platforms. Important to mention that the series has been written by a 5 Emmy and a Grammy head writer, Rob Kudner, who used to be the scriptwriter for Conan O'Brien and Jon Stewart and the Oscars and Angry Birds and Ben 10. The show's director is an Emmy-winning director who worked on shows such as Transformers Cyberverse and Vampirina for Disney and Cocomelon. And I'm sure the parents who are listening to our podcast knows these series. And I have the honor to be working with these amazing professionals. So far, we've had tens of millions of views on our social channels. And we are now producing new episodes. The main episodes were originally voice acted in English, but we just recently dubbed them into Spanish, Portuguese, French, and Hebrew, and we're now working on the Arabic dubbing for the show.
Wow.
And there's also a mobile game which is going to be available in July. A questish story-based game, which is I won't say the evolution of Mario. It's a left to right scroll where they go into amazing 15 levels of adventures. And basically, it's a show that comes from a very pure, authentic wish of the team and myself to give the younger generation and the generations to come some kind of a new kind of story, which unlike stories that put one against the other, this is a story where children, teens, and even adults can learn how important it is to apply what is called love on our day-to-day lives. We also use a lot of different techniques inside the episodes themselves to overcome different life's challenges. Just to give an example, there's an episode which speaks about fear. The superheroes are in a need to defuse a fear bomb, and they learn, for example, and I don't want to give too many spoilers, but they learn that if you apply proper breath work, it helps you basically ease the fear and put you in a more relaxing mode. But there's many other things there that I'm inviting your audience to watch the show and understand what I'm talking about.
That's
So
so
that's it
amazing.
more. That's yeah.
That's so
Thank you.
amazing. So I've noticed with the show too that the animation is very early 2000s, late 2000s Cartoon Network style animation. And is that because the people you're working with also had worked on those different shows, or like how did you end up with that style of animation? Because it's really cool.
So first of all, thank you. To be honest, I'm 54 years old. I used to be a very geekish kind of kid and teenager. I was a big fan of animation and animated series and science fiction and fantasy, but we didn't have multi-channel and cable TV back in Israel back in the days. But we did get to see shows like Scooby Doo and Fat
Hmm.
Alberts and the Globetrotters.
Oh, the Globetrotters. Your
And
friend was Herb ever in any of the Globetrotter episodes?
no, but he's going to be in the future episodes that we're currently producing. And so maybe it's a time to mention that our brand ambassador in the United States is a 19-year ex Harlem Globetrotter player, an amazing human being and friend who has his own educational project, which is called Kindness is Free, which perfectly aligns with God's Gang values. So he goes to schools in the United States and basically does these workshops with children to empower them to become kind human beings. So to answer the question about the style of the show, when I was a child and I used to watch Scooby Doo, it made me feel good.
Hmm.
And when somebody feels good, I believe that he's vibrating positively, is becoming a more in line and effective human being with others and with the universe itself. And it was very important for me to try and bring back this kind of style, colors, that will be engaging for children who are used to watch shows which are now very 3D oriented. Not saying that 3D is not amazing, and there's stuff which blows my mind um, in the new animated series that you can see on the different streamers. Um, but for us, we wanted to deliver something which is more on the innocent side, more on the easy on the eye, easy on the mind, and easy on the heart. So that's, I guess, was the direction that we chose to pursue in terms of the style, the visual style of the show.
That's so cool. That is so cool. So, what really prompted you to create this TV show, to create this cartoon, and what's the driving force behind why you keep going with it? Because I mean, I've seen it blow up, and like that's how I connected with you. I was like, "Oh, this is really cool," and then I saw Herb was talking about you, and I was like, "Well, if Herb's talking about you, then this is really cool too." So, like, what prompted you to do this, and you know, what's the impact that you see around this also?
So there's the answer that I would give you, let's say almost 20, actually 20 years ago, and there's the answer that I would give you, which is relevant for present time. Back in 2006, I was working for the Disney channels. I was a marketeer for
Marketeer.
Disney, working on the Israeli Disney channels, and we recently, back in 2006, we launched a new Disney channel which was called Jetix.
Hmm.
Um,
I remember that.
Jetix was Jetix was basically Saban's library, the Power Rangers and Sonic the Hedgehog and the Amazing Spider-Man and many other legacy brands. And when I was invited as a marketeer for the first Disney Executive Summit, we were asked to pitch ideas for Disney. And
Hmm.
I stood on stage in front of 120 Disney executives. And beside divine intervention, I cannot think of any other reason for me to stand and like tell everybody we should take the Power Rangers and make them interfaith.
Yeah.
That was like a eureka moment, a aha moment where it wasn't me speaking, or it was me, but I guess um, an invisible force or something incepted this idea in my mind. Um, and Disney actually thought it was a good idea. They auditioned people for an interfaith, multicultural Power Rangers season.
Really?
But I guess yeah, but it was too sensitive for them. It never happened. And when I left Disney, realizing they're making a lot of money on consumer products and licensing, I said, well, I'm going to make the first ever interfaith group of superheroes. And the reason was based on the house that I grew in. Both my parents, my father was a Holocaust survivor. My mom
Wow.
um, was an orphan with no siblings. She lost her parents when she was 20. They had some really tough early lives, both of them. But they were big believers in peace, and they were part of an organization that back in the days was called Peace Now. And I grew in a house where my father, although he was born in France in 1932, he taught himself Arabic and he had many Arab friends. And they were trying to promote peace in their own way.
Mm.
And I guess having a group of interfaith Power Rangers was just me trying to deliver the values that I was raised upon. Um, but I was lacking a very major part of my life, which was faith. I grew up
Mm.
in a house, a very secular atheist house. And when I left Disney, I had this spiritual awakening moment. It's a crazy story. You would love it, Sean, but maybe we should keep it for another time, where I survived the fire, and
Wow.
I realized there's a Torah book that was handwritten by my great 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 grandfather, who was a Sofer Stam,
Wow.
who wrote Torah books with his hands. And I prayed on the Torah book for not losing my life that day. And that created a chain of miraculous events that I realized I cannot put the, oh, that's a coincidence label on top of them. And I was very perplexed. I was very amazed with what happened, and I needed answers. You know, I'm called Nimrod. My
Mm.
mom called me Nimrod Abraham, um, which is a yin and yang kind of combination. And with that being said, I went on a search for answers. I went seeking, you know, in every corner of the universe where I could find answers. And it started with Judaism, which, you know, turned into um, Kabbalah studies, which I'm a big fan of. Um, and also other books, Book of Creation and the stories of Enoch and the Sumerian scriptures. And make a long story short, realizing that yes, everything is one, which is why love. This is basically the essence of our being. So with that being said, after 18 years trying to figure out what the world is, what our existence mean, and what I need to do as a human being, I've realized that I should do the work of learning myself what love means, what unconditional love means. And when I felt I was ready to share what I've learned, I decided to basically go to the original idea of God's Gang, and pursue the mission of telling the world that, you know, everything is one, and which is why love is so important. Look what's happening now in the world. It's crazy times, and guys, stop fighting. It even, you know, even in the prophecies they say that, you know, in redemption days we shall no longer carry arms, and a sheep and a wolf would dwell together. And so why wait? Why wait? You know, we both have kids, and we we all want the best for our children and for our grandchildren and the children to come, and also for ourselves. And the only way for us to experience life in a good way is when we basically learn the meaning of love. So
That's amazing.
that's the story.
That's amazing. That is just so amazing. And so, what is the impact that you see? Like, what, like, now the show is out, you have 5 episodes, you're on multiple streaming platforms. What's the impact that you're seeing amongst children that are watching it, parents that are subscribing to it? Like, how is this bringing more people together and really growing towards your mission?
I basically there are a few things which are important to mention here. First of all, we barely written the first paragraph. We do have 8 episodes, 5 minutes each, but still, it's the first paragraph in what I believe is a never-ending story. And we use different platforms to communicate the message. The most important place for us is obviously our YouTube channel. And why YouTube is so important? Because YouTube is a place that people watch long form. Long form are any content which is 60 seconds and above for us. And we're amazed to see how much positive feedbacks and comments we get from our viewers who watch the episode. But I must add to it that we
Mm.
also, for example, we serve short clips on our Instagram channel, which is very viral. We have anywhere between 1 million to 11 million monthly views organic on our Instagram channel. And
Mm-hmm.
on our Instagram channel, every time we like put a 10-second or 20-second clip where the ninja is the major player, we experience a lot of hatred, free
Mm-hmm.
hatred. Um,
That's awful.
still when we benchmark the likes ratio and read the comments, it's a mix between amazing, keep on doing what you're doing, what a beautiful message, to the Jewish is everything was promised to him 3,000 years ago, or he's gonna charge the animals for rent. Um,
That's awful.
it's awful, but it's okay, Sean.
Right.
This is how the world works, and that means that we still have a lot of work,
Yep.
and that basically motivates us and give us the drive to keep on pushing and delivering more and more of the same narrative, because it's a work that requires consistency, authenticity, and repeatiness. It can be tiring, but you have to do it for the
Yeah.
sake of the future generations. And you know what? More than that, when you go now into a classroom, let's say a public school in the United States, there's a David there, and there's an Ibrahim, and there's John and a Sanya. There's a God's gang already embedded within these classrooms, and they don't care whether you are in Jewish or Christian, or you worship that God, or they just care if you're a kind human being, if you're a good friend, if you're fun to be with. They
Mm.
see beyond what people who grow to believe that they have the answers for everything sees. And that's the exact moment where you want to basically work on their consciousness towards the realization that only together we can do better.
Mm. That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. So, Nimrod, as we wrap up this episode of Beyond the Bottom Line, what piece of advice would you give to somebody who's looking to start an organization or get involved in something like what you're doing, and spreading coexistence and building unity and building love and building kindness and sharing that kindness and trying to really instill these values onto people? What piece of advice would you give to somebody?
Um, I would go to a cliche, and this cliche is written all over Nike ads. Just do it.
That's right.
Just do it. But let's add some more advice to it. They say that our universe was created in 3 steps. God created the world by applying 3 actions: thought, speech, and act. And I don't want to go now and try to explain what everything means here, but think positively. Think that everything is achievable. Set your mind into can do mindset. Speak good
Mm.
words. Speak good words. Only good verb. When you speak good words, the frequency, the vibration that comes from our mouth would come back to us, would manifest in the physical reality, and apply the action to it and make it happen.
That's amazing. I really love that. Just do it, because it's a very powerful slogan, and I feel like a lot of people, again, to no fault of their own, but like a lot of people are into just talking about things, but when it comes to taking action and doing things, people are very much like they shy away from it. And something like what you did, you just did it. You wanted to get up there, you wanted to create this show, and you wanted to spread the love, and you did it. And I find that, like, when people just start doing, there's a lot of success that comes with it. And exactly what you said, think positive thoughts, think, act, and speak like a positive person, and it's going to be a total game changer. So thank you so much for joining us on this show. I'm going to put Nimrod Avram's contact information in the episode. You feel free to reach out to him if you want to look and learn more about God's Gang. I'm going to put that link there too. Feel free to check it out. It's an amazing cartoon. And if you like early 2000s Cartoon Network style animation, action adventure cartoons, this is a great show, and it's wholesome too. And I really appreciate you coming on. And don't forget to like and subscribe to this show on our YouTube channel. And until the next episode, keep making the world a better place, and we will catch you guys later.